Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lebanon Board of Park Commissioners. I'd like to call the meeting to order and let the records show that all members are present for the meeting, and Happy New Year to everyone. If everyone's had a chance to take a look at the minutes from the December meeting, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll move that we accept the minutes.
I have one correction.
Okay,
Oh,
wait a minute, one
okay.
minute.
It's no big, it says the Turkey Day run. Turkey Day run, but
Okay, well,
no biggie.
okay, Karen, so you make motion.
I'll make a
Gobble, gobble,
motion that we
gobble.
accept the minutes as corrected.
Okay.
I'll second.
I thought
May I have
maybe
a motion and a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Is there any old business to come before the board?
No.
No? No old business? Okay, on to new business. Any new business to come before the board?
election of officers.
We need to elect officers.
We elect officers, would that be new business?
Yes, okay, so we need to elect officers for the upcoming year. So if anyone has anybody they want to nominate for offices, we have president, vice president, and secretary.
I would like to nominate you, Lori Gross, to continue as our president.
Thank you. I have a nomination. Any other nominations? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I'd like to nominate the remaining, the current officers to remain for this coming year,
Okay.
if they so desire to do that.
Okay, that would be me as president, Diane as vice president, and Karen as secretary. If they have no opposition, I take that as a motion, and I'd like a second to the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Okay, now we've taken care of all of that. Director's report, but are we going to have?
Yes,
reports?
what I have tonight, I have the pool manager, Lori Frost, the programs director, Allison Morton, and the office manager, Taylor Orr, that are going to present the numbers from 2019 and fill you in on everything, or kind of wrap up our year. So I'll let whoever wants to go first. Let's see, it'll be Allison Morton, our programs director, and Taylor Orr, our office manager.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison Morton. This is Taylor Orr. I think you all know us. But I just wanted to do a recap of our 2019 programs that we had throughout the year. So basically what I've done, I think you all have the sheet with you, is just broken down each program in order throughout the year and kind of given some highlights of how they went. So we'll start with the Daddy Daughter Dance, was held on April 13th. I actually was not able to attend that one. I was pregnant and also very ill at the time, so Taylor took that one over for me. So I was going to kind of let her give the overview, so she can take that one.
Yeah, we did $15 per couple, $5 per additional child. We did raise that this year. We raised it, I believe, $3 just to compensate. We hadn't raised it in a while. We're doing some extra things. So that raise went over well. We do the at the community room in the high school. They actually let us use that for free, so it's a great service kind of that they offer to us. We did Beauty and the Beast theme, and it turned out wonderful. Cole Henry, one of our maintenance guys, dressed up as the Beast, and Taylor Moss dressed up as Belle. So that was kind of a big hit that we've never done before, and we're going to kind of continue the special guests each year. We had over 350 guests, so if that event keeps on growing, we're probably going to have to reevaluate and go somewhere else. It originally started
Boys and Girls Club, and then it went to the Elks, and then the community room came available because the investment the city made with that Herman B. Wells room, so we get to use that for free because the city invested in the building of that.
Yeah, so if we keep growing above, I would say if we go anywhere above 450, we're going to have to reevaluate that, which is a great problem to have. It's a very popular event, So a lot of dads and daughters, and we actually see a lot of outside people come to that event, not just people from Lebanon. We'll get people from Crawfordsville, Brownsburg, Lisden, Tri-West, that area. What we've researched too, we're one of the cheaper events around. I know Brownsburg does it for like $50 per couple. So we keep it pretty reasonable for the guests to come. We had face painting, light snacks and light desserts. We'll probably keep it light food because we've tried to do full meals before and have wasted food because I think a lot of dads go out beforehand with their daughters. So that's always a great turnout, a great way to kick off the year for us. So.
Yes. And then after that, we did our Easter egg hunt, which has been going on for years and years. It's a free event and it's held at Memorial Park. And this year, if you remember, the weather around Easter was terrible. It was raining and cold, so we had to shift to the other side of the park where it wasn't as damp and wet and muddy. There was still quite a bit of mud out there, but we made it work. So again, Cole Henry dressed up as the Easter Bunny for us and did pictures and was out there with all the kiddos. And then Mayor Gentry came out and announced all the different hunts and was there for pictures as well. And then Purity Wholesale Foods always donates real size candy bars to hand out, and we had tons and tons of that. So that was awesome for the community. Again, it's a free event, so we really love that event.
I believe Purity does also a $500 donation towards that event too. So that helps fund the candy inside of our eggs. So that's why we're able to offer that event as well, free. And John always is very proud about. We spread 10,000 eggs a year. So something else I forgot was going to say.
The special needs classroom at Lebanon High School stuffs all those eggs for us, and so that's awesome that they do that. So yeah, that was Easter, and then we jumped to our Mother's Day Cupcakes and Painting, which was on May 5th. And this year we did something a little different. In the past, we've always done the canvas painting, and this year I wanted to try the wooden signs. I don't know if any of you have seen those. So we tried those, upped our cost a little bit. We still had a decent amount of about 15 mothers and daughters there, and they seemed to like it. The weather was so nice, so we painted outside. Normally we're inside the cabin, but we moved it outside to enjoy the weather, and we always provide cupcakes and punch for that. Next year, I'll talk about later, but we're going to try and look to maybe switch that up again just to try and up our attendance a little more, but that's always a fun event. And then we moved to our softball league, which is a co-ed softball league. That's been going on for a long time now too. We do that for 8 weeks, and this year we had 8 teams, so that was fun. We had a wide variety. We had a fire department team, a sheriff's office team, and then just your regular community teams that come in.
I think we had a team from Frankfurt this year.
Yes, a team from Frankfurt joined. So, and those are played at the Abner Longley Park, the field out there. The weather in June especially was really difficult to work with, so we got all the games in. We were delayed about 2 weeks on that, but we got them all done. And then our winner was Shakers and Bakers. They've won for 3 years in a row now. So, yeah, I love the softball. And then, of course, we had our June and July swim lessons, which we did up the price on that $10 this year, just because we are growing and we've had so many. We don't want to turn anybody away, but sometimes it gets to that point where we're just outgrowing the pool. But we had over 60 kids in both sessions. So in June, we run for 2 weeks, and in July, we run for 2 weeks. And that's morning and evening we offer. So we had about 15 lifeguards that also taught. There's 3 different age groups. So we try to have, at least for the little ones, it's usually 5 lifeguards if we have up to 10 kids, and then we can kind of work with the other 2 groups because they're not as young, but that is what we try to do there. And then
I have one thing for that too. So with the price increase on that, so it went from 40 to 50, and something that we did with that this year that we haven't done recently is that we started to again pay our lifeguards that we use to teach swim lessons. We started paying them out of our program's money this year. So that was another reason from upping it from $40 to $50, just to compensate for now that we were taking the lifeguards' pay out of that program's pay. So it helped a lot with that. We didn't see any negative pushbacks with that, because again, around here, that's the most reasonable price that you can pay to get 2 weeks worth of swim lessons and use of the water park. So she also gives them like 10 minutes at the end of each class to let them play use the slides. The lifeguards will take the kids down the slides. It's kind of a little experience in itself for that too.
And that's also not one-on-one, but 3 to a class, roughly?
It's usually like 2 to 1.
Yeah.
2 to 1 is what
So
we try
that's,
to do.
to compensate, that's what the adjustment was, which is awesome.
And our lifeguards do so good with that program. We see them every day, and sometimes we want to pull our hair out with them, but then you see them in this program, and they're so good with the kids, and it's so fun to
If
watch.
you ever want to see some good high school kids interact with little kids, they do a really, really good job. We're always really proud of them when they're teaching those swim lessons, and they kind of blow your mind when you're out there, you're like, whoa, I didn't know you could act like that. So they do a really great job.
Yeah. And then this year, I believe this happened last year as well. Yes, it did. We partnered with Soccer Shots of Indiana. They have all different leagues throughout the state, but they use our Abner Longley field out by the tennis courts out there, and my son was actually in it this year. It was really fun. They start them as young as 2, and they go up to 6. So it was exciting because he was 2 at the time, and I was looking for something to get him into. So it was just on Thursday nights for like 45 minutes. But it's a great entry program for kids, and you can look up all their pricing on their website and all that, because we don't control that, obviously.
We just host
but,
it. We let
yeah.
them use our grounds for that, and we help advertise.
Right.
So, but other than that, they kind of control that.
And then we also have our lap swim program, which is held Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And I know Diana is a big swimmer for us, and also her daughter-in-law. That's from 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning. And then we always have one lifeguard on duty at that time. We have 2 girls doing it right now that rotate days, and that's held at the high school pool. It's $50 for 12 sessions or $5 a session. So you essentially get $2 or 2 free sessions with your $50.
And that charge is simply to help pay for our lifeguards. So that's
Yep.
the reason why we charge that. The high school, we can partner with them. We get to use their facility, so we don't have to worry about any of that as long as we are providing a lifeguard to be there while we have swimmers there and unlock the doors and that kind of stuff.
Yep. And then a new program we implemented this summer was Poolside Pilates. I believe Jessica attended a couple of those sessions. We were partnering with the YMCA here in town, so Val and Akiti came in and taught those for us for free, so it was a free program every morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 8 a.m. So it was before everything was open, and we had some really nice mornings where it was really quiet, and we would turn the waves on in the wave pool, so you kind of got that beachy feel out there. And it seemed like we had a pretty good turnout. I would say we'd had around 8 people each time, so we're hoping we can grow that this summer as well, and I'm definitely going to be working with the Y again on that. And then also we did our Mother-Son Superhero event, which was the second year for this, on August 17th, and it was held at the Her Cabin as well. It was $15 a couple and $5 per additional child. That's supposed to say additional child. So it was the same as our daddy-daughter dance pricing. And we had a pretty good turnout. It was about 150 moms and sons. I think next year I want to try and do a different kind of theme or switch that up as well, kind of like how we switch the daddy-daughter dance up every year. And then, of course, we had guest appearances by Batman and Superman. Batman and Superman were there. And they took lots of pictures, and we had our hot dog cart out there, a balloon maker, a caricature artist, and yard games that we rented from the Boone County, community chest.
No, economic development.
Economic development,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
We've
exactly.
used their stuff like twice now, and they allow us to use their yard games for free. So the yard games that we had and pumpkins in the park too, they allow us to just rent them out and return them and no free of charge.
Yeah.
So
And they're like life-size Jenga, life-size Connect 4, and what was the other one?
checkers.
Checkers, yes, life-size checkers. So yeah, that was a good hit again this year, but I definitely want to try and switch it up next year. And then Pumpkins in the Park was also a new event this year. We are no longer doing the Haunted Trail, or Fright Forest is what it's been called. So we switched out that with Pumpkins in the Park, and I was having my baby at that time, so
Yeah.
Taylor took that one over again. So I'll let her explain more of how that went.
Kind of to go back a little bit, she talked about the hot dog cart. We totally forgot to put that on there because that was new this year. It was a huge success. We started the hot dog cart up in June, Lori, because Lori kind of helped manage that. because it was kind of part of our concessions that we had. So we had a consistent worker down there, and we found out that we needed two down there. So we did Mondays and Fridays on the square. We tried to go to the splash pad on Wednesdays. We didn't have a huge crowd at the splash pad. I think we found that the crowd that's going to the splash pad is enjoying it because it's free and they're packing their lunches. So we kind of ended up going downtown 3 days a week, and again, that was a huge hit. We just did regular hot dogs. This year we're thinking of doing brats, potentially maybe hamburgers, something like that. But we used our Kubota to pull it. Honestly, it worked out fantastic. So that was a huge success this year that we'll carry on to next year. Pumpkins in the park. Yeah, Allison was gone during that event. We had bad weather for that too. It was supposed to be on a Saturday, and it was pouring down rain. It was awful. So we decided, Mischief changed their date because they're usually on a Saturday. They decided to change on a Sunday. We moved with them, changed it on a Sunday. We also had to move our location. We wanted to use the new memorial shelter, but that area gets really soggy and wet, so we moved towards the bandstand, and we had a huge turnout for that. Reynolds Farm Equipment donated a hayride around the park. We got pumpkins from Becky's Market and Kroger. We had a s'more station. We bought a popcorn machine for it this year. We had the yards games. Honestly, I would feel like there was no negatives. It was $3 per child, which was very nice for everyone to enjoy that. I definitely see us doing it in the future. I know Lori and Shirley stopped by. It was a really good event. I think that was a good switch and a nice change up from what we've done in the past, and got more family involved, because I feel like that's what people were kind of looking for. They would come there and then ended up downtown at Mischief. So we kind of made a day of it in the city.
Yep, and then to wrap up the year, we of course had our Christmas in the Cabin, which is $5 a child, and that's also held in her cabin. And we always have Santa and Mrs. Claus attend, and they're there for the entire event to take pictures with the kids, and they hand out candy canes. And then we provide hot chocolate and cookies, which Countryside Christian Church has volunteered the past 2 years to serve those for us, so that's really fun. And then we also have carriage rides around the park, which is provided by Main Event Carriages, and they're out of Clayton, Indiana, so they make the trip up here, but they've been doing that before I started, and I think before Taylor even started.
Kelly was the one who initiated Main Event Carriages, so I believe, were we on our 8th year?
At least,
I
yeah.
think 8th year, and so they've been doing it for 8 years, and they're really,
Yeah. Those are so popular, they get filled up instantly, so we'd love to have another carriage, potentially next year, just depends on our budget, what we can work out. So that's in the morning, and then in the evening, we have our Christmas parade, which is a $5 float entry. It was our biggest parade this year. We had about 30 floats, and that included walkers and then also horses. It was a Red Hat group out of Chicago came and brought a bunch of horses, and it was really neat. And then Santa also is in our parade with us, and he always wraps up the parade and gets dropped off at the courthouse and does the tree lighting. So, and we lucked out with really good weather this year for the Christmas parade. So that's kind of the wrap up of our programs this year. John also asked that I kind of do what I'm looking at for this year and any new programs that we have going on. So when I spoke about soccer shots, this is similar to that. I had a guy reach out to me from Let's Go Sports. His name's Zach, and he met with John and I several months ago to discuss some new sports programs that we could implement through the park. So he is similar to Soccer Shots, where we will give him the facility to use and do the advertising, but then they handle all the registration and all of the actual teaching of the classes. So the few that we picked out is we're going to have a tiny Racquets tennis program, which will be starting in May, and there's 2 different age groups that you can do. You can do the 3 to 5 age group, which is $65 for those 6 weeks, or the 6 to 8 age group, which is $70 for the 6 weeks. But basically, they'll be using our tennis courts, and he brings all the equipment, he brings all the instructors, so it's really great. I'm super excited because we don't have a lot of tennis presence around here until you get to high school. So we're hoping that that'll be a good event or a good program for us. And then we also, something unique is we're going to try a lacrosse camp out at our park this year. just for 1 week through them as well. So it'll be Monday through Friday, 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening, and that's for ages 6 to 8, or 6 to 10. So it's a different sport than what's usually around here, but we thought it would be fun to try it out and see how it goes. And they have all kinds of different sports that we can choose from, so we're really excited to keep working with them. And then I'm also looking to the fall to do a tiny hitters, which is ages 3 to 5 baseball. And we already spoke to the Little League about this because, of course, we didn't want to compete with what they do with T-ball. So this will be in the fall, which is their T-ball will be over. And it's just more like a clinic kind of thing, another 6 week. So I think at the end he said they do a little baseball game, but throughout the 6 weeks they're just learning the fundamentals and how to play baseball basically. So that'll either be held at our Abner Longley field, or we may team up with the Lebanon Little League to use their facilities. We're in talks with them about that. So I'm really excited about those new programs to come, and then we're going to continue to work with the YMCA on doing more fitness things through the park, so we'll definitely do our Poolside Pilates again. We tried 2 different times to do a fitness in the park event with them, but again, weather was an issue. Tons of rain this summer for some reason, so hoping to at least do a couple of those, maybe once a month throughout the summer with different instructors. We tried to do a Zumba at one point, and a body pump we were going to try to do. So hopefully we can work something out with them. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to try to change up our Mother's Day event just to try and grow that program. I think that's my one program that I really want to try and grow bigger. So yeah, I'm excited. Everything went really well this year, and I promise not to miss any events this year due
I'm
to
going to,
having
sorry.
a baby.
Now that she said
I
it.
don't want to miss it this year with
Yes.
having a baby, so.
Do you guys have any questions on our programs?
You guys do a great job. Thank you so much.
Great
Thank
job.
you,
I
yeah.
appreciate you guys coming in and doing a summary for us, too.
Yes.
No
That's
problem.
very informative.
Have you thought of maybe trying a Tai Chi with your Pilates, or?
Are you coming, Shirley?
I probably
Tai
would.
Chi?
It depends on,
Would too.
I've done Tai Chi before, but it's been a while, but.
I know someone who teaches it.
Me too,
Yeah.
I like
What
it.
is
Does
Tai
the
Chi?
YMCA, do you know if there's?
Kind of wax
I don't, I
on,
guess I'm not
wax
sure
off.
what all classes the YMCA has, so I have to talk to them.
It's for balance and.
They do have
They
it.
they say it helps people, older people.
Sounds like something you could cook and eat after you're done too, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. We definitely want to throw in different exercise classes, a wide range, so.
And then the other thing that crossed my mind, since I talked to John before, the disc golf, could we have a tournament or something during the summer?
Yes, John actually had mentioned that the other day. I think we're still working on the drainage of those different holes.
Pretty well have the drainage plan now, so yes, as soon as we get that up, along with the renovation of the tennis courts, we're bringing in pickleball courts. We'll start a league, we'll start instructional things, so looking forward to that.
I think the tiny rackets and stuff, that will be kicking off like right when our tennis courts kind of get finished.
We
Okay.
hope.
I was
So it'll be
wondering about that.
wonderful for that all to work out. And to go with the disc golf, we actually have a lot of interest in that, so we're anxious to get that back and going, because we have people call all the time saying that they loved our course when we had it, kind of thing. So I think we'll have a lot of people into the disc golf.
I've had college students that have been
Yeah.
texting me wanting to know if,
Yeah,
you know, they're.
It's a big hit with people, so.
We're working on the design right now, and obviously with all the water that we had and fluctuation, and the splash pad going on, we ripped out a lot of the holes, but we'll be putting them back in at Abner Longley, in that 18 holes, so.
I want to thank all three of you, the ladies in the office. Every time I come in, I mean, you guys are constantly working. It can be middle of winter, and every time I come in, you're doing something. It's really, it's nice to come in and see that you guys are working and doing what you do. I do have a real quick question. Just to give you an example, like the daddy-daughter dance, do you guys go through and each one kind of get an idea of what your expenses are and what you've brought in and that kind of thing?
Yes, after each event, Taylor and I sit down and do basically an expense report or a cash report of what we spent out, what we brought in that night, and do all our numbers.
Out of the ones that you've presented this evening, what one would you say would be your top? Would it be the daddy-daughter, or would it be?
I'll have to look through these.
Because most of them, we also get a lot of donations, even the Carriage Ride, that's sponsored. So
I would
they're
say
all
daddy, daughter dance or
self-sustaining,
swim
yeah.
lessons, but those are the ones we kind of charge for, because most of the other ones we either offer for free or offer at a lower rate because of the donations that we do have. We're able to do that. Obviously, we're not in it to make any kind of money. No, we don't want to be naked, like spending money for the daddy-daughter dance that we don't
Sure.
have, so we make sure that we
Even out at least.
even that out. So we try to keep our prices as reasonable as possible.
Our softball is pretty built up
Yeah,
as well.
that's true, our softball.
Because, I mean, we don't have a lot of.
I'd say our swim lessons probably is our most profitable.
Our swim lessons, our water programs had a
Yeah.
huge jump this year, and that'll be something that we can talk about when Lori comes up here, but we had a huge jump in water programs. The participation in it is crazy. We were busting at the seams with our swim lessons. They're very, very popular. So our water programs definitely were skyrocketed, but I'd say those are the top three: swim lessons, daddy-daughter, and softball. would be our
And
top
Caleb,
three.
I want to thank you guys for what you guys do. You guys, it's amazing. Even being in the business, I go out there and it's just, I kind of sit there and I think, wow, I mean, with the amount of ground you guys have to cover is just, you do a wonderful job. They do, and.
It always looks great.
And it shows. It shows.
And a lot of our programs, getting back to that, we want to make, be as cost-effective and keep it as low as we can so the community can be involved, but at the same time, we don't want to lose money. That's why we had to let go of the Fright Forest, $6,000 loss every year, just we can't sustain that. So we want each program to sustain itself or close. If it's obviously well-attended, we want to keep it there, so.
That was where I was going with the
Yeah,
question. I
that's-
wanted to kind of get
that's-
an
When
idea
it's as
far as-
popular as the daddy-daughter dance,
Yeah.
obviously you want to invest some money into it to, keep it different and fresh every year to keep those
Right.
crowds coming back.
And if we don't sell any hot dogs and we lose money, that's gone. We'll pull it out of there. So there you go.
I don't foresee that being a problem.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Yeah,
all
I
your
anytime you want to know
input.
anything about the parks.
I want to thank you guys. I mean, all the work that you put in, I know, and Caleb, all of you guys for these extra events and things, because I see you guys out there on Saturdays and Sundays, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that you can keep the cost down because you work with people and get the donations, and that says a lot for our community.
I think it's a very big thing. Like I was saying, I watch all the other parks department on their Facebook page and seeing what they're charging for their events,
Yeah,
and I'm like, that is crazy. What are you doing for the $50? That's crazy. So,
Yeah, we don't want it, we want to be
And we
able
still have a
to include
DJ. I mean,
everyone.
I think we
Yeah.
left out the DJ, but you have DJ and all the different things for $15. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
And
they do a
and
lot.
Brownsburg's charging 50. I think we're,
I
you know,
think
there
we're-
again, keeping the cost down. We're still sustaining and profiting a little bit so we can get that DJ and
Sure.
grow it a little bit, so.
And having it affordable for everybody in the community
Yeah.
is what we're all about.
Sure
So,
is.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now,
Thanks,
time for
Dale.
Lori Frost
Yeah,
on the block. There you go. Just a little, Lori's a part-time pool manager. She's done an outstanding job again, very dedicated, as you can see all our staff is. But can't say what she's done. She's been here a couple of years, already CPO certified, has to manage the 55 kids that we have and their schedules and their the drama and everything. But she's done an outstanding job. This past season, we lost one of the pool managers mid-season, or captains is, what are they? They're pool manager. Supervisor. Yeah, supervisor, there we go. And Lori didn't miss a beat. I don't think you could tell we were shorthanded. Everybody steps it up, but Lori's outstanding in her organization and has brought a lot to our table, so, and taken a lot off of us as you'll hear the numbers here. I think you'll be impressed with the success we had in 2019. And with that, Lori, take it away.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet those of you who I have not met yet. Just as a quick overview, the numbers that you see before you, you have probably all seen before. I know that John presented some numbers to you after the season was complete, but just as a recap, We were up 16,000 patrons in our gates this year from last year. So a huge influx at the admissions window. And a lot of that was seen in our non-residents. So as you can see, non-residents in 2018, we were almost 2,100. And this year we were at 10,800. So a huge influx. And that's two reasons for that. One is we were much more diligent this year at the gates asking people whether they were resident or non-resident. That's an additional $1 per person coming in. And so we really trained our staff who were working the front window to make sure that they asked every single person. And I was, very demanding at the very beginning that was something we were going to do. And they did a great job of it. And it was, you can tell in the numbers. And I think also we had 2 area water parks that were under construction. And so we had a lot of visitors from Frankfurt, and is it Brownsburg also that was under?
Yes, or Danville.
So, Danville, yeah. So we had, I think, a lot of their normal patrons that came and visited us, and we had tremendous feedback from all of those visitors, especially about the cost. I think we are definitely the most reasonably priced, and people loved it that they could bring their family in and get the whole experience for very little. So, pool passes were also up. We were up about $7,000 in pool passes. So, all around the board, we were very pleased. Total admissions revenue, again, about $15,000 up from last year. One of the biggest areas where we saw an increase was our concessions revenue. And you were reading those numbers right. We had a $30,000 increase in revenue from our concessions this year. And I think there are a couple reasons for that. One, we increased our staffing because the year before, we didn't like seeing the lines, and so we increased our staff in hopes that we would, make it so that people could get what they wanted and get it more quickly. And I think that the added staff also helped because we did not run out of prepared food. They were able to keep, before we had 3 or 4 people in there, and you've got 2 people, one on each window, that are just stuck on the cash registers the whole time. And so that left 1 or 2 people to fill orders, restock, do all that stuff, and it just wasn't working. So we added more staff in there, and that really helped us. We also have a place now where we can store inventory, so we were not out inventory. We have an inventory room that is adjacent to our office, and that helps out tremendously because like frozen pretzels and ice cream, there's only so much that you can store in your freezer, so we added additional freezer space in there and storage space, and that helped out. We also did a new ordering system. If any of you guys were there during the summer, you might have seen we have a menu board that is placed so that you can see it while you were in line. Before, you would have to wait and you could only see the menu on the glass. And so a lot of the time was spent while the person was making up their mind at the window. And so we kind of adopted the Chick-fil-A method is what I call it, where we went down into the line and we would take orders from people from that menu board, and then we would take the tickets in, and their food could be prepared while they were waiting in line, and then they just paid when they got up to the window. So I think that all of those things kind of work together to make that happen so that we were able to increase by $30,000 there. So this past year we carried 52 employees. That includes 11 strictly concessions workers, 39 guards, and we had our 2 supervisors. We were open 79 days, and when we looked at our total numbers, when it comes to staffing, it costs us $1,200 a day to staff our facility. So it's a lot of employees, and so this year, it was definitely our highest in staffing, but we had to keep up with the patrons. Normally, we can cut staff. If it's slow, we go down to 8 guards, 9 guards, because we can let some people go. We go down to 3 people in the concession stand because it's just slow. We never really experienced those slow periods, and so we had to stay full staff. So it was a good problem to have, but we definitely saw it in that we were over budget on our staffing. So something that we are critically looking at and trying to make sure that we remedy, but ultimately we need to take care of the patrons that are there. We need to make sure that water safety is put forth first. We can't not staff it when it's that full. So As we go through staffing, just in case you weren't familiar, I wanted to point out what we require for our staffing, our lifeguard certification requirements, and this is basically the American Red Cross requirements, but there's a physical component and then a classroom component, and the reason I pointed it out is that we don't just hire anybody, they actually have to have a skill set, and which is very important to realize, because when we go through our hiring process, if it happens that somebody leaves on us in, the middle of June or the middle of July, we can't just replace them with somebody else in a quick hire like you would for somebody in a retail establishment. It's really something that requires a skill set and a certification. So you see the physical component there. They've got to swim 300 meters without stopping. They've got to tread water for 2 minutes with no hands. They've got to swim 20 meters and then retrieve a 10-pound brick from a depth of at least 8 feet and then swim it back 20 meters. So that's the physical component. And then on top of that, they go through about 12 hours of instructional time where they learn the water safety, CPR, first aid, and then they have to do a final exam and pass that. So once they do that, we then recertify them every 2 years. So they have to stay up on their skills. They have to keep doing that. We just held a recertification this past Saturday for all of our returning guards who needed it, and I'm glad to say everybody passed, so that's good. And one of the other things that they have to do is they actually pay for their certification before ever even being hired. So before they even make $1 working for us, they normally have to pay, it's anywhere between $170 and $270 to get their certification. So they are investing a lot before they even walk in our doors. So they are quality individuals. I really enjoy working with these kids, and it's great to have the returners. It's really important for us to have those kids return. Working down, working towards a goal here. Yeah.
I have something real quick. So they are required to get certified on their own, but what we do for them, for their investment, every 2 years when their recert's up, we take care of that in-house. So we do that. It's not as expensive as their certification, but we do take care of that for them. So that is guaranteed. Hey, you do have to invest into this job, into your certification, but we will certify you. And we are nice enough to release those certifications too. If they need those for their job and that kind of stuff. If they go to college and work at a pool in college, they do have that on hand. So it's not like we own their certification or anything, but we do take care of the research for them. So that is a plus that we were able to do that for them. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. As we look kind of forward, I did some research just to find out how competitive we were with our staffing, because we do, hire a large group of young kids. I wanted to find out kind of how we stacked up against the competition, and it is insane what some establishments are paying kids to start working. The numbers you see there are correct. So these are different retail, restaurant establishments, and they're getting. We start out at $8 an hour for our kids, and some of these are $3 and $4 more per hour starting pay than where we are. So this is something that's fairly new for us to kind of see these things. We heard the kids talking about it, and I might not be able to come back because I might be working at Culver's or whatever. There are a lot of options now where they can work. I guess that's the good and bad for a booming economy, but it's definitely something that we have to consider. So looking forward, as we go forward, so those were all of the kind of high points for 2019. As we look forward to 2020, we anticipate similar crowds for 2019, just because those area water parks are still under construction. They do not open back up until next year. So we anticipate that's probably going to be just as crowded. We know right now that we have 15 staff members who are not returning from last year. The year prior, we had 3 that did not return. So I can't say that all of it is because of the competition that we have, because we did have a very large number of older staff members who had maybe been in their 5th, 6th year there, and they are leaving just because they, in their own words, they have to get a real job and get, some experience, internships, whatever, for their career path. So, but still, 15 staff members, that's a lot for us to, rehire. And so we anticipate as many as maybe 20 new hires by the time it's all said and done. They have a deadline of January 15th when they're supposed to let me know, so they still have a little bit of time to let me know. But that's for concessions and guards. I anticipate maybe about 15 new guards for the year. I know that we will need full staff at least through mid-July. That's typically when we see, after the 4th of July, we typically see a little bit of a dip in attendance where, vacations kick in and less people are at the pool, and it just kind of slows down a little bit. It didn't happen last year very much, but, that's typically when it happens. So there might be a little bit of a dip after, mid-July. And that's when we can slow down a little bit. But full staff for us, we carry 11, in the morning shift, we carry 11 guards, 1 captain who is a senior level guard who is kind of their peer leader that is not actively guarding a station, but they are roaming around. They're the first responders for a double whistle if there's a problem or whatever. It gives those older kids a chance for a little bit better experience, some managerial experience, a supervisory role for them. So we have 11 guards, 1 captain, 5 people in concessions, and then we had 1 person for the hot dog cart on the days where we did hot dogs.
And either a supervisor or a pool manager on duty as well.
Correct. And then for the afternoon, we go down and we'll do 11 guards, 1 captain, 3 in concessions. And then that's when, so 11 guards is full staff. But if we're not busy, we can we can safely go down to 8 guards and we cover all of our zones. So-
Lori, I'm sorry. These numbers, this doesn't include you guys, correct? As far as...
Our supervisors or pool managers? No,
Yes.
this is strictly pool staff,
Okay, so this doesn't
lifeguards,
include you
concessions.
guys in the office doing any, okay.
No,
Correct. So if we're looking at 79 pool days again this year, just to compare apples to apples. So if we are staffed for 79 pool days this year, our staffing numbers are as follows, and you can kind of see there, if we did no raises, and we started where we are right now at $8 an hour, we're still looking at, it costs us $11.48 a day, so $11.50 a day, and that puts us over budget again this year. And that's with doing nothing to give these kids raises. If we go up and we do 50-cent raises, which is what we have done in the past, it's kind of a customary thing where if a kid deserves it and, they come back for another year to reward them for that loyalty, we try to do 50-cent raises, and if we still start at that $8 an hour, again, we're just under that $1,200 a day, but still it adds up, and so, again, over budget. And then, ideal scenario, and if in a perfect world, I would love to see us be able to start at $9 an hour, just bump that up so that we can be a little bit more competitive, especially because we're asking for a skill set for these guys. And if you raise that starting pay to $9 an hour, you really have to give the remaining kids a $1.50 raise to make it so that they're not getting paid the same as somebody coming in new. So, that's the ideal thing. And although the over budget number is large, it really is only an extra $100 a day, that we would really need from a staffing standpoint to, I think, make us a lot more competitive and also show those kids that we value them and want them to come back. So, of course, anytime you're over budget, you have to tighten the, belt a little bit. So, and for us to ensure some financial responsibility, I want to make sure that we are fiscally responsible. One of the things that we are going to make a more conscious effort of doing this year is if there is inclement weather, we're going to close, because at $1,200 a day, it does not make sense for us to stay open. There was one day where we, we felt this sense of, wow, we should stay open. We're a municipal facility. We need to, be here for the community and so forth. But we literally stayed open for 4 people, and that just, it's not, we can't do that. So we're going to, make those calls and do that. And, as an example, we closed 6 days last year, and that 6 days, that translates to $7,000 to $8,000 in staffing. So that's a huge, amount that we can save by making those decisions. We also are going to make a new policy where we reevaluate for inclement weather. There are some days where we would make the call, and I would call John and say, do we close? What do we do?
And those are tough. Those are tough calls because, again, we are a municipality and we want to make sure the public. And I swear, if you close it,
You have people there no matter.
yeah,
what.
you do, and they will wait in their car until, yeah, it's like, well, just because it's thunder doesn't mean there's any lightning. It's like, yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, it's like, it's not just rain. Yeah, yeah, it really is, and we're trying to keep them safe. You got to clear the deck, and
Wait 30 minutes.
I think the sign will help out a lot. I think our communication through our new software program will help out, but we're going to make tougher decisions, and it probably won't be favorable sometimes, but we're going to have to do that, rather than, like she said, it was more than just one time that we kept it open for 4 or 5 people or one family.
They are hard
And-
calls, because it's raining in the morning.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
drove
off.
30, 40 minutes to get there, and they have 5 kids, and they're all, yeah, it's tough. And I still, we have to, that's something where we'll tighten the belt. And I hate to, but in the same token, we kind of got to.
And with the reevaluating policy, it's actually going to, I think, be helpful, because sometimes we would make that call at,
Yeah.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Sun come right
And then
out.
sure enough, at noon, it's sunny and it's hot, and you're thinking, oh, no. And you can't just reopen at that point, because you've already
The
said
guards
you're
are
closed.
gone,
So,
yeah.
you don't have the staff.
Never
So
to be seen.
One of the things that we're going to do is reevaluate, and we would have a 2:30 opening time as a second opening time instead of the 11. That's our shift change, normally is at 2:30, between 2:30 and 3 anyway. So that would give the morning staff, we would call them off, but we would keep the afternoon staff on call. So we'll start doing that this year. We'll also make sure that we cut staff when needed if the crowd size does diminish. We'll do some scheduling changes, as the summer wanes on, if the crowd sizes diminish. And then we're also going to go to, I was big into, we're all doing the work together. Everybody opens, everybody closes, we do the dirty work together. And, again, to tighten the belt, we're going to go down to 5 openers and 5 closers. So everybody else gets there at opening to make sure that they're in their places at opening. And then they leave. We might even cut them, an hour before we close, because really that last hour that we're open, it's the crowd is pretty small. So then that way it just cuts down on that staffing. So 5 openers and 5 closers will take care of things this year. And then Taylor and I, and then when she's on maternity leave, it'll be Allison and I, and we will just go through weekly staffing audits. So as soon as we look at the hours each week and we get those numbers, we'll constantly be adjusting to make sure that we are as responsible as possible with those funds. So.
I have a question for you. Do you ever have concern about hitting capacity crowd?
Yes, actually, we were really concerned. I don't know if you remember, there was Freedom Church did a community day in early August, a back-to-school day in the park, and we were very nervous. So we actually have counters, and so we were able to stand at the gate and use counters. And I would like to do that again. Normally, we can tell what kind of day it's going to be before we even open. If there is a line at the gate before we open, and it goes, spans beyond the sidewalk and goes to the parking lot,
Yeah.
we'll start clicking then. We'll have one staff member at the very beginning, and all they're going to do is just click numbers so that we know, because we will know within that first hour to hour and a half what kind of day it's going to be like. People show up at the beginning, and normally they stay through lunchtime, through that 2:45 break, and then they normally leave. So we will know. And we also will know what kind of camps we have coming in, because we have base camps and Boys and Girls Club, and a Z camp comes in from Zionsville, and they'll bring 300 kids with them that day. And so we know ahead of time, when those guys are coming, and so we can always make sure that we keep count. So yes, we do.
What's the capacity?
8:45. Yeah.
I say 8:45, but 8:48.
Yeah.
So
Officially.
I always say
I
8:45,
think you
yeah.
are. I think you're fine. Have we hit it?
Yes.
I do believe we have, yes. Yes.
So you turn people away then at that point?
So what our plan was for the community day, what we are going to do from here on out is, if we get to a point where we hit that, we are going to have people wait at the gate if they would like to, or we have a wristband where they can come back, and they would be, if you have a wristband, you would come back and you would be first admittance in. So it would be a great problem to have. I don't really see it. The few times that it has happened, I really think you could probably count on one hand. But we've gotten really close many
I was
times.
just anticipating with the increase you had from 18 to
Yeah.
19, if that were to continue. I know the other parks being closed is part of the problem, but
And something else too that's going to help is with our new software. That's going to really help with that, because we'll have that number live too. So it'll help. We can also still do the clicking, but we'll be able, it'll track in and out way better than what we're tracking now.
Yeah, that's always been our issue of tracking in and out, but now with the software that we're getting, you can actually
And this
track.
year we're
And
actually
pool
able to-
passes, we'll be able to track those a lot better.
So much better.
Our tracking systems will get more efficient after this new software that we're bringing in.
When they exit,
Yeah, when they come in, because before they'd show the pass, we aren't,
but when they exit
They
those,
scan in and
yes,
out.
scanning on the way out too, yeah. That will help us all the way in and out, so that'll help us, because
And this
that's been a
year-
concern. It has been a big concern.
This year too, we were able to actually visually see what capacity looked
Yes.
like too. And so I think that'll help us, because when it's crazy out there, I mean, you can always count and stuff, but when you visually know what your capacity looks like too, that's a huge help,
Yeah.
to know that too. And
Freedom
this
was a
year
good
too.
eye-opener, I'd say, out of all of them. That
Yep.
was, yeah.
Absolutely,
Is capacity in the pool, or is it
Pool and pool deck.
Yeah.
pool and pool deck?
yeah,
Grass, everything, anything inside the circle.
yes.
the safety.
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Guards can only see so much.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we saw in the very beginning of the year, unfortunately, we saw some behavior that just was not, and that's a scary thing when you have such large crowds too, if you have people that are trying to cause trouble and so forth. So I think we, put a stop to it pretty quickly, but that's something that is always,
I think 20-some, 27, I think it was, 27 kids that, they blew it.
yeah, we revoked,
So they weren't allowed to come back?
No.
kids' privileges on the very first weekend that we were open.
Yeah, we
Not
have,
allowed
we
to
give
come
them a
back.
warning where their parents have to accompany them. If that doesn't work, they're done. And that's.
And we sat down with their parents too.
Yes.
We had them, their parents
'Cause
were
we
able to
did- yeah.
sit down with us and talk to us. We did not, want to leave them out because I would have a question as a parent, so.
Sure,
That's fine.
thank you.
I mean, I think.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anything?
How do
Those are
you
fine,
feel
so.
about the pricing?
I think it's
Here we
very
go.
reasonable.
It is.
Personally, I have a large family, and I think that it is wonderful to go to some place
Okay.
and just feel like you get a really good value and that they're not gouging you for, but I also think, we have stayed stagnant for a while. I do know that the last time we raised prices
6 years,
was
6 or 7 years.
Probably, we haven't changed.
One thing with our prices that I think, I do enjoy that we stay on that lower end too, because I think that's half of our crowds, but I think we see it reflecting in our concessions, honestly, because it is cheap, so they're gonna spend more money on feeding too, so. I
Yeah, we
feel
did
like that
30
kind of-
30
and our
plus thousand in
is cheaper
concessions.
As well,
Yeah.
too, we
Right.
try to keep those on the lower end, so I think that's just overall, between programs and that kind of stuff, we're able to keep things so low, but we see crowds in our, I feel like, obviously still profiting and still doing very, very
Okay.
well.
Okay.
But,
I do agree, I think a price increase would not hurt, I don't think that would scare anybody away, no. But I do think our prices are very,
Because
very
even with a
reasonable.
small price increase, we would still be
Very.
much, yeah.
Right.
Do you think $1 per, I mean, that gives you another, what, $48,000 a year?
Yeah, I'm
And
a
another-
little timid to up our pool passes or pool rentals at this point.
I'm talking
When-
just people
Correct.
coming
Just
in and
regular
out, not the
admissions.
pool passes at this
Admissions do
point.
not scare me up in those, like $1 or anything. It's the pool rentals and pool passes at this point.
Yeah,
Because
I
we do
would-
have a lot of people who will do them after the pool passes and they sit there and really think like, okay, am I gonna come X amount of times to make this worth my money? And our pool rentals, I don't know if that would scare people away. I will say we are already fully booked for August this year.
I was going to say, I don't think it.
I don't know how much it would scare people, and we are also offering Thursday nights this year. That's another plus that we're gonna do because we fill up so quickly. Lori thought it was a great idea that businesses might take up that Thursday for their employees rather than making their employees come out on a weekend. That's the only thing I'm timid about, and I think it's more because I'm hands-on with that, and I'm not so much hands-on with the admissions part of it, but I do not think it would scare anyone away of our regular admissions.
I mean, I guess my whole thing is, if you up it $1, that's 48,000 roughly, as far as an increase, and, we're talking about trying to pay our guards more and give them, a little bit more money, and, I mean, goodness, $2, $4, and $5 to go to some place and spend all day. I mean, my I have Chris's daughter came up from Fishers and brought her kids, and, I mean, she was just totally shocked, you know,
I completely- I mean,
as far as what it
$15.
costs, because, you know, she normally goes and it's $30, you know, and she said I don't even know how you know, keep the electric on, you know, that was her comment. So, I mean, I guess if we're looking at adding money to the guards, which I guess that's what I'm hearing you guys, you know, kind of push, I mean, I think we should up our prices. I think we should up the prices for the residential, and I think we should up the prices for the non-residential.
I think especially the non-resident.
Make it well, and, you know, if you want to go up $1.50 for non-residential, so be it, but I definitely think everything needs to be raised $1. And I'm okay with you.
Now, the pool passes.
Even number, those 50
Yeah,
cents,
you
it's
don't
hard
want the
to...
50 cents, we talked about that.
Yeah, if we could, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, general admission, that's kind of
Yes.
what I was seeing,
Right.
because I look at it.
Seems how we didn't do it the last time. Bob Ross was was the representative from the school, and yeah, he was shocked too at the prices, and that's when we made our last adjustments. That was 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, and obviously with the new facility that we had coming on, that's when we raised it. That's quite a increase, however, for what we offer and what they charge around the other communities. I personally, and yeah, I had 4 children at the time too, it's cheap. You can't see a movie for $5 or
I'm just thinking
$6.
at this point in the year, if we're going to look at something like
Yeah,
that.
we have to make a decision pretty quick.
Yeah.
We're,
it
obviously,
too
with our
late?
social media, we're getting it out there, and now that we have pool parties reserved already for the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I don't
Kayla.
mean-
No, you're
I'm not
fine.
talking-
So, that's what I'm saying, pool parties, if you're thinking of changing that, actually, if
No.
you're thinking of changing anything, it's gonna have to happen, and I hate to be a bearer of bad
No,
news.
no, no, that's-
But it's gonna have to happen very, very quickly. We have a
Right.
lot of things that we'll have to change and redo all of our windowing and that kind of stuff, which is fine. I'm not saying anything
Yeah.
against that. If that's something that's gonna be considered and looked into, it's gonna have to be a very, very quick decision
Quick.
to do that.
Right, that's why I asked.
And again, I'm completely for it, I completely agree with it. It's just would be a decision that would be because we've already sold pool passes, like that kind of stuff.
I think we're just talking about the.
I think
the
general admission, not
to-
pool passes, not the pool parties,
right,
because
right.
One
those,
thing, if I could be devil's advocate, so I do think that it is definitely warranted to, you know, have a price change. Something to consider is that if we are going to be expanding the pool, rather than do
No,
$1
when we-
or
when we
$2
expand
now,
the pool.
Right, so maybe wait and do a larger increase
How long do you
when
wait
you
to
make that
raise those?
announcement, and then they see that it is because it's going to, you know, the new pool. So when we kind of go public about that and what our plans are for that, maybe there's an opportunity to have a larger price jump at that time. Instead of $1 or $2, maybe sit where we are and then have a larger price jump closer to the time when we make that announcement. And then the funds are going, you know, to capital improvements for the pool. So I don't know. That's a thought, but.
but an increment, I'm thinking, increase might be a little,
Softer blow. in a way.
yeah, thank you, I was looking for, then just kind of do the boom factor, and of course, we're looking at a long time before the addition, but I just, I don't want to exclude people, I think our pricing's great, but I think we need the general admission, I think we really need to do.
Well, especially since we're having trouble covering the expenses as they are.
Well, and I would like to see the lifeguards compensated for more than what they are, with
Yeah.
what they have to do and the responsibilities they have, and I think we could do it easily through here, but I know it's only January, but I know everything that you guys have to do this. That's why I ask if it's too late at this point.
It's not, it would just have to be a very quick decision on it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about the pool passes, I do. I guess my only thought is if we're going to raise the other, why would we not raise the pool passes when you can look at it and you can say a single pass is $60 and you were open 70 days? That's less than $1.
I don't disagree, I just know first-hand experience of what people think about when they come in and what holds them back sometimes from purchasing a pool pass. don't think that they're super, super cheap, where people are just buying them like crazy, is what I'm kind of getting at.
What are we compared to others? I mean, as far as,
Honestly, I haven't done like a comparison to other pools. of
Again,
what
the
their
last
pool
time we
passes.
did that was 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah,
I think
it's
we did
also
about
hard.
3 years
Some of
ago,
them-
and we were lower.
Some of the area pools, it's not really apples to apples. I know, like the Plainfield Pool, you actually don't get a pool pass. It's part of their gym membership because their facility is a
we're too
recreational
late to do
facility and you get
Yeah, I agree.
entrance
I
into
think
that as part of your gym membership. So it's just kind of,
It's hard to, because our amenity is so different.
ours is a water park and some of them
than
are
other
just
people's
pools.
amenities.
Yeah, Danville doesn't have a wave pool, and nobody does around here, so there you go. Yeah.
so, I mean, I guess I'm asking you, you're dealing with it every day. I mean, do you think if you raise the pool passes up $5, I mean, do you think that's?
$5, no. $5, no.
But you said you've already sold pool passes for this.
Yeah, but there's no, if you're wanting to do that, there's no, it's just like phone conversations and someone's like,
Right,
well, I talked to you on the
right,
phone
I
and you told me
understand.
this, and then it's changed. It's just that.
We would honor
messiness.
anything that we've said in the
We
past.
should-
Right,
We
yeah.
honor anything that we
Right.
say. It's just, if we were to do
And the
like
ones
an
booked,
overall
then
change
booked.
of
Yeah.
everything, I would want it, like a decision to be made the year prior at the end of the year. That way, we can, as soon as 2020 happens, because that's when, what we tell everybody, 2020 is when you can start, or the first of the year is when you can start booking your pool rentals, because people want to do that in, like, immediately, right after they do it, and to make it fair, we don't release that till the first of the year, and that's what we told everybody across board. That's why August is already rented out, because everyone knew, hey, we're releasing pool.
Have you sold any pool passes at all from January 1st to today?
Not January 1st to today, no. We have sold pool passes in December.
Before December, yeah.
But what if, I'm just thinking, because I know we're running a deadline right now. My thought is take the general admission prices now and put a committee together, you know, say like May, and get pricing from other pools at that point, put a committee together and look at that and make that decision on your pool rental and your pool passes. I don't want to throw stuff out, but your general is not going to be.
General is going to be the easiest thing. If that is something
Yeah.
that does not bug me at all. I just want to make sure that we're
Yeah.
consistent, and if people are already looking at prices and that kind of stuff, that the newest information is out there.
Has
That's
this
what
been
I was
published to the
thinking.
public yet?
What? I'm sorry.
The-
It's on our website, it's on our
Yes,
Facebook.
that's consistently always on our website, because
Yeah,
our
it's
pool
on there
passes,
all the
because
time.
our prices haven't changed, so we keep that up all year round. That's on our window right now at our water park, that's everywhere, we have it on our Facebook page. So that's all I'm worried about, is if there's going to be a change, I want to update it as soon as possible, in case people are already thinking summer and that kind
Well,
of
I mean,
why
I
I
think we
thought-
can make a decision this evening. I can't fathom that it needs to be
Yeah.
gone to the next meeting.
If we're just going to do the general admission, I'd really like us to look farther in, because I know what's involved with them to do all the other, and we don't want to just throw prices out today.
You were in that last raising the pool too, weren't you, Lori? I thought you were. Were you,
Well, no.
Diane, too? Oh, okay.
I remember being part of this discussion.
Okay, all right.
I'm okay with whatever. I just think that if you're going to do it, you do it now. And, I mean, $5, in my opinion, is not going to waiver somebody's decision on to do it or not to do it. From other people.
Yeah, that isn't what my thought was. My thought was more, this is January and making
The impact.
the impact on them
What
right
would be the
now.
difference, or what would you have to do differently that's going to make it worse for you to do the pool passes at a different price at this point?
We could always call it an early bird, you know, if they had already purchased something, we could even set an early bird date and say, you know, by the end of January, if they purchase a pass, they can get it at 2019 rates, and then we can, so, I mean, we could.
It's totally doable. that's
That's
not the issue. It's just if that's what we're gonna do. I would like time to also look
We don't
into
sell
other
a lot of
places too. But
That's
I don't think for a pool pass $5 is gonna be a make or break, no.
You don't think it's a big deal if you can go ahead and raise it?
Hey, come up here, Allison, please.
I think what Taylor and I would be concerned about in the office is, for instance, I got a call just like 2 days ago from a big church in Brownsburg that was wanting to rent the pool in August, and she asked me pricing details, and I gave her all of what our current prices are. So we're just thinking that people are gonna come in and be like, well, you told me it was this price.
Yeah,
which
that's
I know John
why
said
I
we would
asked.
honor it.
Yes, we would honor that, yeah.
But it could just get messy if we don't get the word out as soon as
You
possible.
don't want to get yelled at, do you?
Because that person has told somebody else what the
Yeah,
pricing is,
exactly.
and we don't want, that would not be good.
And we aren't going to say, oh, you didn't say, yeah, we'll honor it, period, so.
I was
thing,
just
if you're gonna do
thinking,
that, then
those
you should raise the
prices
other
are
one.
more
Yeah.
talked about and set in stone and discussed with people rather than the general
General
admission.
admission.
That's why I thought we'd
Yeah.
start, but I'm, you know,
As
what
far as
do
the
you
general
guys come?
admission, I have no issue with that, because all that is changing the concession stand glass pricing, putting it out on our sign.
Yeah,
putting it
that'd
out
take
on
no
Facebook,
time at all, any of
Put it
those
on our
things.
website. It's just those other bigger purchases, because we already sold 2 pool passes in December, which I know that can be considered 2019 or pricing, but it's just, we get those calls daily. So it's
Yeah.
just, when do you cut that off and say, this is our new pricing now?
That's why I'm saying if we could get some PR out about it, you know, in the fall, saying, hey, next year,
And this is also very technical of me, and this may not make any sense to you guys, but from my end on receiving money and everything, it's a lot of reporting that I'm going to have to change for pool passes, pool rentals, because I will then have to go into my Square, recalculate the fees, all of that stuff will be changed, and that does take time. It's not saying I
That's why I
cannot do
asked.
that, but that's something to consider too, that there's more time in that than our admissions, because there's no, there's taxes on pool rentals, that kind of stuff that I have to calculate in and get all those new fees that we have to punch into our iPad afterwards. I have to get all that calculated too. So just in a general, to just think of that, it's not just as easy as like, okay, we're going to up this $5. There's a
Yeah,
lot more
that's why I
intricate
asked.
things. Those in the general admission is easy, quick fix. Pool passes, that kind of stuff, I would prefer a little bit more time, if I'm being honest.
okay? That's why I asked, because I knew it was more. And of course, I know you're taking the summer off, so I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
and I'm not going to be here.
Why don't we just do general admission
That's what-
and then set a price for the other as the 2021 price?
Yeah, and do something, we could even do a splash in the fall saying, hey, if you get your stuff before now, by the end of October, you'll
Our
stay at
prices
this.
are going up in 2021.
Yeah,
And we
but-
very well could see a lot of people do that. We've tried to do discounts before, like a 10% off of pool passes, just to help our rush a little bit. We didn't see too much.
but if
too
we
many people rush
increase
to
it,
But we will also have our new website up, and with that civic rec program, so many people can do this online, and it's going to make it so much easier for them to logistically get
hassle.
that pass, that I think that we'll see a huge uptick in pool passes. So.
Would it
Along
be
with their shelter
reasonable-
rental and everything else too, it's the software's great.
right, all that.
And they all
That's
came
why I don't
before you
wanna
and you
change
approved,
everything.
if you recall.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, I know administratively, it's a lot more work than us just say, oh, increase it $5, you know. But I think the general, since it's not set in your budget or anything, that would be, so,
Would it be reasonable to add $1 to the resident pricing for the age 2 to 4, 5 to 17, 18 and up, and add $2 to the non-resident in each of those categories and leave Twilight the same? Because Twilight's got a limited time.
That is up to you guys. Reasonable, yeah, I don't
I don't think that's.
we don't see too much fuss at the window. Lori's more so at that window helping with her staff than I am, so she would probably be the one to know that. I wouldn't see too much feedback. I think they're still going to come. It's still cheap, and especially our non-residents, I don't see too many
no,
fusses over that. So.
okay. Any other input from the board on that? Otherwise, I'm going to entertain that Diane put that in the form of a
Okay,
motion.
I make a motion that the general admission pricing be adjusted for 2020, effective when the pool opens, for a $1 increase on the resident pricing in each category, a $2 increase in the non-resident pricing, but the Twilight Pass remaining the same at $3, because it's a limited time that they can have that time, and probably not that many people really are in that
And we're
category.
taking away the Thursdays possibly for the pool.
I'm sorry?
We're taking away Thursday because we're gonna.
Thursday twilight night is
Oh,
what
'cause
I'm saying, because if we were to open
So
it
rental,
for,
So more
a
so we
pool party.
wouldn't want to
Yeah.
change it. Okay,
So it'd just be Monday through Wednesday?
okay.
Yeah.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Hopefully that'll work out for you. And don't let us forget to put a committee together.
Allison, don't let
Allison, that's right.
Rolls right down.
Okay, Caleb, you're at the end. We've gone down the row.
Thank you all very much.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
That was a great
As you can
presentation.
see how sharp they are and how blessed we are to have them
They
working.
keep you in shape, don't they?
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh, are you kidding me? No, we
And
do a lot
that's
of
hard
thinking.
sometimes, I
Yes,
know.
it is. The hardest part's keeping me in line.
Right, that's what I said.
No, they're-
That's what we're saying.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
appreciate everything.
No,
This
the
is-
dedication, you can come by at 6 o'clock at night and you'll see them all
I know.
working, even though they're supposed to be off at 4. Never complained. Same thing with Caleb Skank, our foreman right there, shop super. Any of the guys, I think we have just a very dedicated group of people. As far as that goes, I can't say, and passionate about what they do. You can see the passion, it bleeds through them.
Absolutely.
We're really blessed to have them working in our community and for the Parks Department. Can't say it enough.
No.
Anyway, we're real blessed. I'll just put it there. What I have for you for the very last presentation, it's pretty well out there for you. These are the projects that we completed in 2019. Some of them we did in-house, quite a few of them we outsourced. The monies came from various sources, some of it from our park fund balance, some of it from the council. Quite a bit of the money came from the council. There again, we also had a Rotary group that donated quite a bit of money, but we couldn't make it all work without all the support of the mayor, the support of the council. You see Keith Campbell, our council liaison that's here, have his support. He's been just such an advocate of the parks, and we're just really blessed all the way around. And your hard work here, too. I just want to say, really thankful. This is our 100th year now of anniversary of Memorial Park, so this is our 100th year. It's pretty exciting. And what we're completing, and it's just outstanding. I'll just run through 2019's accomplishments. I won't put Caleb on the hot seat there to tell him, because we wouldn't leave tonight if he told you everything that they do on the weekly, daily, monthly basis. Heck, he was hanging a Christmas tree a month ago and took it down this Monday, had it done. That was just something that we do on the fly. We get asked to do it, and we don't complain, and they do it. Keeping Uptown Square cleaned up and looking nice. Our pedestrian walkway that we've been added to. Gene Haas, we do a lot of other things outside of just the Parks Department that these guys maintain and take care of, and they take pride in it. We had a pretty rough season starting out in 2019. We were down 4 employees, didn't hear anybody complain. They all stepped up and above and beyond. Again, you'd see them late at night and working. I don't think anybody on the outside could tell that we were 4 employees down. They didn't need any supervision. They just knew what to do and did it. And a lot of the thanks. There were some promotions that were given this year. There again, Billy Smith is our superintendent, doing an outstanding job. Caleb obviously shined in a lot of things he did. He stood up and is the shop foreman slash supervisor, you name it. Cole Henry also stepped up, and aquatics director. So these guys couldn't do it without their supervision, but also all the park employees. Now, what all they take on a daily basis, I can go on, but I'll just go ahead and go through the list. I just can't thank them enough for everything they've done. And they did get an increase this year. Our budget's pretty well stayed the same for the most part. However, we did an increase on across the board, a real nice increase. We're almost competitive now with the other parks departments in the area. We're still below them, mind you, but I'll keep pushing for more money for those guys, because everybody's well-deserving. And still, so just like you heard with the lifeguards aren't compensated, I think our park employees, yes, they have the benefits, and the days off and a lot of extras, but they also are very hardworking and their skill set's unbelievable. Okay, 2019 capital improvements. We got our topography and drainage plan done. That was $73,800. From 2018, that was June of 2018. We got that delivered to us in December. So we can do a lot of projects coming up in 2020. Painting and repairing of the pool vessels, that was $62,322. That was the lowest bid also. All these are lower bid, the lowest bids. We get 3 bids on everything. The dog park, we have with the asphalt driveway put in there, all the fencing, sod, concrete work, electricity run, everything. That was $62,494. Splash pad, that was a great project, another great amenity that we have, $750,000 for that. Renovation of Memorial Shelter, there again, that was the Rotary that helped us out, plus the Park Foundation, and plus some of our own money for some little features, but $75,000 went into the renovation of that, and if you've been in there, it's outstanding. And that beautiful eagle on top. Yeah, and now it's got a plaque and a big rock out front that really nice, commemorating everything. Purchase of 3.5 properties around surrounding Abner Longley Park, next to the grain elevator, and then we took another one, the exit at Abner Longley, and then there's another half property that we actually got that will help us tie in our bike pedestrian walkway that will go in there eventually, and hopefully in 2020 or the next couple of years. Renovating the baseball dugouts, we had lowest bid was $16,000, and the guy said, we can do this. We did it for $5,000. I just want to put that in there. And we do this on so many different occasions, but that one was, I thought that was outstanding. Asphalt pathway in Memorial Park, $12,900. Concrete walkway at Northeast Street, I got those two, and the walkway at Northeast Street, $35,900. Upgraded the sign to digital sign. Obviously, everybody saw that right there at Christmas. Beautiful, $28,672. Software startup at Civic Rec. You'll see that installed this year, and we'll be using it. That's $17,000. Camera additions and upgrades, $50,000. We have the hot pond that's covered, parts of Abner Longley that are covered, the dog park that's covered. There again, it's just, we have license plate that we can zoom in on, which is, it just helps the police do a lot of things. And there again, that money came from lit tax, which is from the police department. So we use their public safety money for that. Shelter roof replacement in Abner Longley, $7,000, plus we restroom maintenance barn addition, the restroom at Memorial Park, that's $748,235. Conservation Club demolition, that was pretty much in removal of everything, that was $22,000. John Lastly Outdoor Solutions helped us by demolishing the building and taking care of that, and that was a donation. He got zero money for it from the Parks Department, and we want to thank him for that donation. RC course, it's not going to cost anything. We started that in 2019. We'll complete it in 2020. Yeah, that's going to be a nice addition. Park impact fees, we started that. We had our first kickoff meeting 2 weeks ago. That's roughly $12,000. The council has approved that. What the park impact fees will do will help us for new amenities in the park. We can't use anything on old maintenance or anything like that. That'll be something for the new housing additions we have come in. Every community does it around us, and it hasn't gone before the council to be approved yet. We should finish that, all our conversations and the behind-the-scenes work. Anyway, that should be approved or before the council in May, and hopefully they'll approve that. That'll be another source of revenue for us coming into the parks for new park purchase, grounds purchase, amenities, anything like that, but it's all new. Playground equipment, you name it. There again, 2020 projects, just to quickly go over, I didn't put any prices. Pickleball courts will be going in this spring. They were supposed to be completed last year. However, with the weather, bad weather in the spring, they never caught up, but we were at the top of the list for that. I think that'll be nice amenity. Safety call button at the splash pad. That's a requirement, ordinance, what have you, state law, I believe. So we'll be putting that and installing that at the splash pad. We'll also be looking into different safety devices for our Seashore Water Park pool, and we'll be looking at that in the next month and hopefully have that all done before the opening of both. Adult exercise equipment, we had that donated. We'll get that installed this spring. Facade replacement at the bathhouse, we've wanted to do that, but we'll be doing that, working on that soon.
John, on the safety call button, what does that, I mean, does that go to the police? Does that go?
Yeah, it goes to police and fire, so they hit the button and they'll call it. And, you know, if kids mess with it, we'll have them on camera, but, hopefully that won't happen. Bathhouse renovation, we had a lot of slips and falls in there. We have coating that we'll be doing. We'll probably spend around $40,000 just in that restroom this year. And if anybody's been in there, it looks like it was built in 1980, so we're going to upgrade it. Handicapped playground equipment with Walkway. Already had a discussion this week with Rotary. They want to do another little help the Parks Department with that. We're going to look through, and we might have a little selection. I think, Diane, you had said you wanted to be on that committee to select some handicap equipment. And so hopefully we'll get that installed, the sooner the better. 18-hole disc golf course, we discussed that earlier too. We'll go forward with that. Now that we have a drainage plan and all that, we can go forward with that, and our splash pad is in, so we can redesign that, and that's in the works also. And then the lighting enhancements. Boy, I can't spell. Lighting enhancements and trail additions at Abner Longley, but the light enhancements at Memorial Park. I think we have a dark park now that we have all these walkways. I think it'd be nice to light them up. We have a lot of other good things going on in the city where we're going to extend, hopefully with this grant money, if it comes through this spring, running the bike pedestrian trail, the walkway going from downtown all the way down to the municipal building on South Meridian, cutting over, and then going down Southeast Street and connecting to Abner Longley. So that'll be a great addition. We're already taking care of the others on snow and ice and uptown, so it's just a little more to our plate, but we're excited about it ourselves. And that's...
Question for you. When you mentioned
Yes.
about the lighting enhancements and you referenced...
Oh, go ahead.
You referenced Memorial Park specifically. At one point in time, I think you have talked also about when events are held, whether we're hosting them or just people are using our facilities for big events. You talked about how there was not enough or sufficient electrical outlets
power.
available. Is that part of that?
That is part of that. We've already done with our signage that we put out front. We're enhancing around the bandstand because that's so old, bringing more power in there. Met with Dave Van Wy. He's no longer with the utilities, so now I'm waiting until they replace somebody there to get back on. I've worked through Trace. He's no longer with them. Corby, he's no longer with them. Dave's no longer with them. So next guy up, I'll try and get a plan together. Now that we have our topography and drainage, that'll help us. We've worked with that Deb Smucker from Cornerstone, and we kind of have a process there. Lori and I both have looked into lighting, so we have ideas of the style, which we'll present it to the park board before we go forward with it. And obviously with the big purchase, probably go to the council, because there again, all we're doing is knocking down our 5-year master plan and just going down the list. And as you can see, we spent $2,032,000 this last year, and I think we got some great amenities out of it. And obviously, you can see the help that we have. They're really sharp and excited and motivated and very, very passionate about what they do. I think we're really blessed to go forward, and council's very supportive. It's up to the park board to keep pushing the council, and I think they're very supportive right now, and the mayor's obviously on board with the quality of life issue, so now's the time to hit while the fire's hot, or whatever. Yeah, there you go. That's all I had.
Great.
Okay.
Any questions?
It sounds like another busy year coming up.
Yes.
Be great. And already a lot of stuff done. The restroom, finally.
What's the finished time for that project, the whole project?
It was supposed to be July 1st, which would be heck, you're a baseball fan, you know how bad that'd be, that not have that restroom. They're way ahead of schedule. Everything's enclosed now, pretty much, I believe, Caleb. They finished up inside the barns today, but they've been working around the clock now that everything's enclosed. So as soon as we can get asphalt put down, that project will be done in the spring, all but done. So I'd say March, April at the very latest, so way ahead of schedule. Thanks to this beautiful weather. Yeah, we poured asphalt in December, which they closed the plants in November, so we were real blessed to get asphalt. Can't thank the council enough for letting us go forward with that, because we've never had asphalt down there, and it's a muddy mess, and this year we don't have mud up to our knees. It's just totally different. But yeah, I think you're going to be really pleased with the restroom. Cobblestone going up on those pillars outside, and it's really looking good if you've seen it. Yes.
Now that my baseball player's gone.
Oh, he's gone. You can come out and still support the Tigers.
Okay, if everyone's had a chance to look at the claims, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, if there's nothing else to come before the board this evening, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all for coming tonight, and thanks for everyone for being with us.